abaisengera bakware byamore asamarete ngoro kulaban ngoro mugonga. To the visitors, that just means my name, ladies and gentlemen, is Laban Clifford Serio from NTV. Just as Baby Janyam said, yes, we are live on NTV. We're transmitting this event live for you. We are honored and glad to be here and setting camp for the next few days. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I'd like to recognize the presence of our choir who will lead into the entertainment session, and then we'll introduce our guests.
Gachikorisia gatuno keria yonchoga ine buna maemba kongo nengongo ach nengongo obe nengongo para biamo bagaka kibarenge kweboya kibarenge kweboya bare kobeka chingo baba murabanto bakarea bakarea murabanto ya murabanto bakare kibarenge bakaini dindi tirengae manyi tominto imocha nimborie imocha ninkwane omae bomoyo mani
Veamos, tocare mere vamo, un'ega va con la te viva, e vite di toro coran, io dopo mi correramo una vanita. E tocche di once a secondi a ito, io dopo materana. Ma già si manca tanto mano minta vana va di qua in India. Io ti fatto renare to con l'università facile. Aince non era io non voleva noi no. Io va te va ti fatto con le mie mamma. Questo è chiaro.
So please, we would want you to, just emulate our governor. You can see our chairman of the council is smiling. So look at your neighbor.
I'd like to recognize our team leader who's made this possible, Linus Kai, who's our managing director of Nation Broadcasting, who just stands there and wave. Next to him, we also have Liz Wathe.
More information, of course, you can go to www.kes.or.ke. And of course, don't forget, the hashtag is Kisii Unveiled.
Indeed, thank you.
That court cases may drag for long, and this affects the activities and achievements of their goals. 4, investors need security both for their investments and life. And lastly, 5, investors are encouraged when the issue of governance and fight against corruption is taken seriously. Chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, on the second issue, which is the counties as new investment destination, focus should be shifted to what counties need to do to attract investment both by local and foreign investors. The evolution has paved the way for steady economic growth in counties despite some challenges. But the main indicators show that they are moving in the right direction. Counties need to focus on legislation that will attract and encourage investment. Local taxes that are introduced should not deter investments, but create a local economic development agenda that brings together the investor and the county government, since they ultimately need each other. One requires the services, while the other requires the revenue. Chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, during the Kenya International Investment Conference, which was last year at the KICC, it was suggested by participants that the county governments should set up one-stop shop to facilitate investments in their jurisdictions. This initiative should be undertaken with care to avoid duplication of function and activities by different departments in the county government structure. And for industries through their master plans. Focus should be on value addition of agricultural produce, as agriculture still remains the key employer. Counties are encouraged to let the community participate in investments so that they feel part and parcel of development initiative. This participation should be extended to formulation of laws that are trade and investment related and any other laws that require public participation. There is need to have organized groups at grassroots levels to complement investment initiatives by county governments.
To showcase to the local, regional, and international investors the existing investment and business opportunities within this county. We're also here to provide an opportunity, indeed a networking platform for investors considering and negotiating joint, giving them a chance to negotiate and even discuss partnerships both domestically, regionally, and internationally. We're also here today to promote an efficient exploration and utilization of environmental and natural resources for sustainable development, with special reference to Kisii County and more particularly to the special Kisii story. We are also hoping that ultimately we will sign contractual engagements that will lead to direct investments, that will lead to direct investment in the county for purpose of creating wealth and alleviating poverty. Your Excellency, this investment conference, labeled the Kisii Entrepreneurship SUmmit, is a culmination of a planning process that involved your county government, the ministers, the CEOs, and indeed the members of the county assembly. With your permission, allow me.
That's what is important. Our experience that spans 30 years. When I was running ICDC, we decided to invest in this town and build a Coca-Cola bottling plant, which is called Kisii Bottlers. And 3 years ago, it became part of Almas Beverages when we chat, and now brings together Kisii bottlers, Mount Kenya bottlers in Nyeri, and Rift Valley bottlers in Eldoret. Three things that we have experienced over 30 years. And for investments, the issue of capital, the issue of infrastructure, water, power, the issue of labor, and the capacity of labor to carry out and manage an enterprise as big as Kisii bottlers. Our experience has been this, because I speak with full confidence, because I've been there right from the start 30 years ago, and I'm still in it. Power was a problem 30 years ago. Outages were a big standby generator that has changed dramatically today. Thanks to the government, to the national government, to those who generate power, and those who distribute it. It's not a concern anymore for us. The issue of capital as an ICDC operation, and Almas today is owned by Centum, and ICDC has major shareholders and many others involved in it. Capital has never been an issue because those big giants and the banking institutions that are in this town have provided the capital. But most important for us is labor, people. What is the capacity of people to manage and for a product, distribute it? Because we distribute the Coca-Cola product throughout Kisii, Nyamira, Homa Bay, our region. And in this county and beyond, I believe we have the capacity, the human resource that has enabled us to generate concept, strategic plan, everything that we need to first produce the product and then distribute it to the market. And the market is there because if you fly, or if you had, for those who don't come from this region, if you had an opportunity to fly into Kisii, one thing will strike you. It's both from Nyamira, Kisii, you go down to South Nyanza, it's like one big town. For somebody producing and distributing a product tells you about the market. So for us, the issue of infrastructure, the issue of water, the issue of power, the issue of people, not been an issue that we have been concerned with. And will continue to grow. In fact, in 2008, we expanded the plant and put in place a larger bottling plant. And we believe that in the future, we'll continue and expand because we have confidence that all those things that are so vital to investments be available, not only in this town, in this country, but throughout our region. So I like to associate myself. Last 30 years, we are in it, and I believe as a Coca-Cola operator, we'll be there for many years to come. What is it?
Thank you very much. Production of bananas. Whatever we do to value add on bananas, it can be a shared, common, without necessarily reinventing the wheel. So whatever I learn from Kisii on value is what I would sincerely ensure that we do it in Moranga. It is very admirable to see the Kisii stone, the sculptures and the art of Kisii. Well done for that to Kisii. What else will be from him? If replicable, we'll do it. And as we celebrate Kisii, may I say all of you, people of Kisii, congratulations and a job well done. Thank you very much. sustainable microphone that has happened to me. So I feel a bit nervous, but I'm very pleased to be here in this investment seminar. And I know that all of you are excited to be here. So we are all in the same place. I look forward to a great day. I know there are a lot of things that Kiambu and Kisii have in common. One of them is coffee. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil. In Kenya, we sell our coffee as it is, without value addition. There is a lot of work that we can do. We can get together, Kisii and Kiambu, to create innovations to make sure that we can sell high value added coffee. So we are together, we will be together, and we can work together to grow this country into a very strong country. Thank you very much.
Nation, KCB, CPF, and the managing director of CPF is also here. Please stand, Mr. Kelly. Kelly is the managing director of CPF, which is a pension body for county employees and one of the main sponsors for the PG contest. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Secretary General, for coming here, because the body that you head is a body that deals with the issues that we are going to discuss here. And for those of you who have not heard our Secretary General speak, you probably will not get a better Kenyan to have come here to talk to us today about the Entrepreneurship Summit. But please clap for him. Talk to each other. We want to talk to the Kisiis who are here in Kisii. The Kisiis in the local diaspora and the Kisiis in the international diaspora. We want to talk to all the Kenyans, wherever they are, and those who are listening to me, that we have a county here called Kisii County that vibrates. We have a county here called Kisii County that controls about 60% of the money market in the Nyanza region. And for those of you who know about money, if you are poor, you are poor. If you are rich, you are rich. Money follows money. So for the investors, you will not be making a mistake at all. We chose the entrepreneurship model basically out of the Global Entrepreneurship SUmmit, the KES2016. Because we realize that entrepreneurship is a way to go if we have to build a robust and sustainable economy. And indeed, global economies, and these are people saying, until the rains come down, that economies like India, China, and others came up because of cottage industries. They came up because of the mamambogas who are employing 2 or 3 people. If that happens in this county, we will be counting our shillings all the way to the bank. That is what I'm asking all the Kisiis, wherever they are, that please come home and invest here. We have said, and I'm telling you again, we invited His Excellency the President to come here. We are expecting him tomorrow. I want to ask for all the Kisiis of all political persuasions and of goodwill to come here tomorrow and welcome His Excellency the President. In a broad sense also talks about why we are here. We are going to hear from a few investors. You know that in Kisii, we, for instance, do not have high-end hospitality areas. We are asking investors to come in In the area of infrastructure and health services, we have even heard about medical tourism. I don't see why it should be in other counties and not in Kisii. Ladies and gentlemen, the broad enablers for investment like investment policy and others have already been passed by our county assembly, and we are ready. And we Kisiis are good people. Indeed, the economy of Kisii County is multiracial, is multi-ethnic. You will find all tribes of Kenya here, and they work peacefully. And that's the way as a governor that I would want to see it continuing. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now then to invite the governor of Kakamega.
You can. So we must work hard as we work hard here. But the most important thing we got into this country is the new constitution that brought devolution, created 47 counties. Being the first governors, we have had challenges. I cannot cheat you. It has not been easy. You remember the initial months when we were in office, the word impeachment was on the mouth of everyone. It's a governor being impeached, deputy governor, CNC members being impeached. That was the language. There was no harmony. I'm happy now people have realized that after an election, you must work for your people. There is harmony at the moment, and we are able to work as counties. But the challenge has continued. As I say, being the chair of finance, there have been problems in flow of funds from the national government to county governments. Some counties have to borrow to pay salaries. Payments are in arrears. We cannot continue like that. This is a creation of the Constitution. And you know, when the counties were being created, they were meant to be engines for economic growth. In fact, when I left Kisii, Kisii looked like a village. But now when I passed around, Kisii looks like a big city. I congratulate you for that. That for the last 30 years, Kisii has grown a lot. Congratulate you for that. Clap for yourselves. So, please, will only behave in Nairobi, those days. And we will expect only the president to come here and open the occasion. If it's not there, then it is postponed. But nowadays, you can, whether it's there or not. This is what we call devolution.
Positive competition between counties. Because even the drafters of the new constitution wanted regions and the counties to compete positively to contribute to the overall development of this country. Therefore, I want to start by congratulating my brother, His Excellency Ongwae, for putting up this big initiative that is empowered by the other conferences I've been attending, because I've been gone to very many of them. And I think this conference is distinguished by its professionalism, the way it has been organized. Very professionally, the input there, the innovation that has been put into it, I am sure it is going to bear fruits in assisting Kisii County to attract new investors and also providing our role really is to create that environment, that enabling environment, so that the private sector, who is yourselves, can drive investments. And from what I have been briefed by Ongwae and the organizers of this conference, Kisii is already putting up that, building that environment, to enable investors to thrive and to attract investments. And indeed, we've been able to go through the exhibitions, and we have seen exhibitors of all kinds who are set to start investing and who have already invested in Kisii. What distinguishes Kisii and many other counties, and what puts Kisii ahead actually of many rural counties, is several factors that are very attractive for investments. And one of them, the character of the Kisii people, who are very hardworking and very enterprising people. Sometimes I hear these other communities who are enterprising in this country, but I think Kisii will be leading. It's only that you are not leading in numbers, the population, but in terms of very enterprising, very hardworking people, I think Kisii are number one in this country. Also, looking at the level of education, Kisii is one of the most educated people in this country. Produces, in terms of percentage, biggest population of very educated people in this country. And also, if you look at the diaspora spread, people who are working elsewhere in the country, people who are working in America, people who are working in Australia, people who are working in Europe, you will find Kisii everywhere in the globe. And that, those combinations are therefore very useful for investing back at home. So our call today really to Kisii people is come back home and invest in your home. Use the knowledge, the resources, the exposure you have been able to get wherever you are to come and put back here in the home, at home, to continue growing the economy of Kisii. And of course, I've also been told in terms of financial institutions and the banks, Kisii has one of the highest concentrations in the country, again providing you one of the most important elements of supporting investments in the country. Therefore, all we are saying in very short, because I don't want to take a long time, is that Kisii is ripe and ready for investments. And then, of course, you have a very experienced governor who has spent 30 years, more than 30 years, in public service, preparing himself to come and lead Kisii. And that is not common. He is one of the most experienced governors we have in the Governor's Council, and indeed he has led us very well in the committee. He shares the Committee of Labor and Human Resource. He has given valuable input, especially at this transition period, in helping us prepare as counties to have the best human resource that is required to run the governments. So I would, if I were you, point out that even as counties continue improving service delivery at the local level, providing the environment, we are still operating under a very challenging environment. And one of our key challenges is that still the national government continues keeping a lot of money at the national level that is supposed to be devoted. If you look at the health sector, for example, I'll just give you an example. National government is now, this budget, controlling 60 billion. 60 billion. The counties have to share 45 billion. Yet, national government is running only 10% of national health. So if you're only running 10% of national health, why should you keep more than 50% of the resources? If you go to agriculture, it's the same story. 99% of agriculture is involved, national government is only running policy. How will Kisii invest money to enable to create a processing industry here if money is still controlled in Nairobi? Look at the road sector. This year they have already completely refused to allocate any money to the counties. Yet, 41,000 kilometers of new roads have been moved to the counties. So how will Kisii County or any other county be able to create the infrastructure that is required to enable business to thrive in the county if money is still kept in Nairobi? So our message today is constitution released resources and the potential of the Kenyan people in the rural areas to grow. But the national government continues holding back. And therefore we are asking them, let my people go. That is the constitution. Can you allow resources to come down here so that communities can continue exploiting their potential in growing the economy of this country? This year, I want to give you the last example. By 3%. Because last year we were allocated on the share of revenue, which is ordinary revenue, that 3% of that money. The previous year, the same. This year, the proposals given by the Treasury is for counties to get that 1%. Now, if revenues are going up, more functions are being devolved this year because the transition is on forward. How can the allocations of counties go down? Is there any logic here? Is there any logic? So we are asking the national government and the parliament, because now the proposals are in parliament, those members of parliament, the senators who are still committed to devolution, because I don't think all of them are committed, some of them are not. And I hope there is a critical majority there that is still committed to devolution. We are asking them, can you do your job by making sure that a fair share of the national revenue is released to the counties so that we can all continue contributing to the national development by exploiting the potential in the counties. Lastly, I'm happy and I want to congratulate members of the Senate and the National Assembly for now realizing and reading the Constitution correctly, that the transition authorities' term cannot be extended without amending the Constitution. We have been telling them that, but now at least they have accepted. We are now asking them to allocate more resources to the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee so that it can take over the residual functions of the transition authority to be able to move devolution to the next level. But we cannot extend the transition period. The Constitution already provides a roadmap on what happens when that period comes to an end. So give that committee money, give that committee capacity to be able to do what is yet to be done by the transition authority. So thank you very much, and may God bless you in this deliberation in this conference.
To an event that is exceptionally well organized, very, very well patronized, very well laid out, and I think make a very, very important statement that devolution is not just about entrepreneurship. I want to thank the leadership and the community of Kisii University for hosting us so competently in your compound, and for the social events that you have put up. I want to thank the investors who have brought out a very, very good show in the exhibition village. I was impressed. This was like a national event. And a form of display and decorum makes an important statement about a community, a leadership, and a town that is ready to embrace the world. First of all, you all know that 25th of September last year, all the leaders of the world met in New York and committed to a very ambitious program that over the next 15 years, through the use of investment, of trade, improved management, smart partnerships, we are going to get rid of extreme poverty. Kenya as a country is one of those with a severe challenge of how you can move from 46% to zero in 15 years. And the whole of Africa, the whole of the world is scrambling for limited resources on how we are going to banish extreme poverty. For rural societies, there's no shortcut to getting rid of extreme poverty except for, one, improving the productivity of rural labor, making the farmers more productive. Two, climbing what we call a value chain, moving away from exporting raw products, starting to add value through light industries, starting to move into investments of production that are more rewarding than what we have traditionally been doing, and thinking of services that can support this diversification away from overdependence on a basket of a few crops. Of course, a number of challenges immediately come. Number one is infrastructure. When I was a politician in Kenya, I used to say, our banana farms and our cows have a very bad habit. They are most productive when the roads are in their worst condition. We face a reality that Africa has an acute deficit of resources to finance infrastructure. My organization has done a global assessment, and we say there's a shortage of $2.5 trillion for Africa's expenditure over the next 15 years to banish extreme poverty. Every year, Africa needs $93 billion for roads, fixed broadband, mobile connectivity, electricity, waterworks. Current financing is about $47 to $50 billion. That means there's almost a 50% deficit. What does it mean in the context of Kisii? One, it means that you belong to a country which has to scramble to attract more investors than it is doing today. You belong to a county which is competing with other counties to attract part of that limited amount that is likely to come to your country. And you must smart up for making investors on their own think it is worth their while to go and invest in Kisii instead of going to Machakos. At the end of the day, entrepreneurial devolution is only going to succeed in Kenya if counties compete in best practice. In fact, if there is a 50 pence worth advice I will give to governors and MCS in Kenya, don't waste taxpayers' resources going to China and Switzerland on benchmarking. Visit each other in Kenya for benchmarking. When Deputy Governor Gakure comes from Murang'a and looks at Kisii, and he says, they are even competing with us, they are more competitive than us in producing bananas. He goes back and says, in 6 months, the road from Nairobi to Moyale will be completed. We are opening up potentially a market of 94 million people in Ethiopia. Between Kisii and Murang'a, who is going to export more bananas to Ethiopia? That's the language. That's the language of positive competition. These leaders think of where their country should go. What are the challenges they're going to face? Politicians look for where is the longest queue. How can I jump to the front of that queue? Define the agenda around which the queues will form. Then you tame the excesses of the politicians. Today, one of the greatest opportunities coming for entrepreneurs in Kisii is related to regional integration. You see, very many people have thought that when we devolve a country, we start looking inward into a county. This is a very false sense of security. Erecting walls around your tribal territory vis-a-vis others is falsehood. The opportunity of devolution is looking at your local area to build competitive capacity. to build productive capacity and yields of your labor. And then you build bridges with your neighbors. You don't build walls. Let the entrepreneur who grows in Kisii be able to beat the entrepreneurs from the other areas in maximizing the market in Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and Ethiopia. And how do you do that? Smart partnerships and regulation. Many people think that to be an authority in a county is to start increasing taxes you levy people. Enterprises will fly away from you if you create a hostile environment. They have no obligation to be here. They don't like you just because you are Kisii. You must appear to appreciate them. You must talk together. You must invest in the talent of your youth. Now that we are speaking in the context of a university, it will be remiss of me not to mention one concern that I've been having. We all know that entrepreneurship is the key, is a critical pillar of empowering people to remove poverty from any county. Entrepreneurship is critically dependent on a positive linkage between a very enterprising people, a leadership in the community that is facilitative of enterprise, access to competitively priced credit, and a very, very careful structuring of innovation, relating education to innovation. How do I mean with the innovation? Two things. First of all, I was mentioning to my friend, the governor, that maybe Kisii should be one of the earliest counties in this country to set up a business, not quite a business park, but like a business, a business incubator, but where you carefully connect courses taught at university with the needs of the enterprise in the area. We have a lot of students who go and study ICT today. They come back, they apply themselves to national and global challenges, and Kenyans are world leaders in innovativeness with ICT. But can we start finding a link between enterprise in Kisii with the Kisii University? I would like to encourage not just Kisii University, but other Kenyan universities. The mercantilist aspiration and temptation that to run around the country to exploit areas where there's an appetite of education with a shortage of colleges, opening campuses everywhere, must be balanced with investment in market-related courses at your core campuses. It's good that Kisii University opens up a campus in Kitale because there is a student need for college there. But it's even more important that Kisii University, first of all, strengthens technical education and market-relevant courses in Kisii campus before going to open other courses anywhere. Mr. Governor, you have a challenge that is almost unique to this county. The population of Kisii is 950 people per square kilometer. By United Nations definitions, that is an urban population, that's not a rural population. So when you say we are going to town, we are going to Kisii town, no, you are saying actually you are going to the central business district. Because Kisii town is the whole county. Your demography is urban. You cannot go on more of the same. You cannot afford to be too vulnerable to global prices of tea and soapstone. The imperative on you is life-threatening. That Kisii, this generation, must invest in competence to do other things or do things differently to be able to sustain the next generation. Inheriting a quarter of an acre for homestead is not going to be the solution for the long term of Kisii. And one of the important things about this kind of occasion is a discussion with investors. It's self-analysis, a critique at national level. It's not just a Kisii matter. You have rolled out a platform on which we are looking at devolved government and performance. we're not just talking about a problem of Kisii. We're talking about what's the smartest way to use subsidies, for example. Conditional loan subsidies, credit subsidies, for example, with low interest banks can be a source of the desperately needed financing. I've been told about the project with the border. This can be written large. Your people have shown how much thrift they have, rising from nothing to become real controllers of public transport in Nairobi. But tell them, the entrepreneur who went into the matatu business, that matatu business only succeeds because of failure for leaders to create a national transport policy. Once efficient transport policy comes, matatu business will go down. So let them diversify while they can to avail some of the credit and leadership that will grow Kisii into a major thriving entrepreneurial hub. I want to round off with 2-3 limited suggestions to you. We at UNCTAD are ready to engage, and I pledge my willingness to support Enterprise Kisii. My predecessors have supported devolved government in the continents where they came from, interestingly, mostly in the continents where they came from. We have had very successful support for a state government in Argentina, whose governor, on the basis of our support on building competitiveness, has actually been so successful as a model. He's running in the next election as president of Argentina. I have 2 specific products that I can put on the table. One is our UNCTAD Enterprise Policy Framework. Now, this is assisting policymakers with a comprehensive approach on how to develop, identify, formulate, and implement pro-poor policies, but also pro-enterprise policies. How does the county government of Kisii make business its business? How does it assist people with a clear policy framework? My second product, which has been very, very successful in many developing countries, is called Empretech. We have a program where we train entrepreneurs. We assist identified entrepreneurs, not in the basic bookkeeping and management exercises. That one, KES2016 can do very well. And I'm very glad that KES2016 is represented here. It's the single largest beneficiary of UNCTAD partnership support in Kenya. And as former minister of Kenya Investment Authority, I'm very proud that I have a historical relationship with one of my former agencies, which is doing very, very well. But we are offering, I can avail my people to come from Geneva to assist you in the program, setting up the program for training your entrepreneurs and actually training them. And this program particularly emphasizes younger entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs. On the margins of UNCTAD 14 conference, which I'm hosting in Nairobi in July this year, we'll be having Empretech prize awards. We have competition of women entrepreneurs from the whole world. And we give the prizes for the best entrepreneurs from developing countries. 4 years ago, it was from Rwanda. 2 years ago, it was from Jordan. And I hope that increasingly in the coming years, one day I will see women from the community of Awagosi winning my Empretech annual round. I would also like to invite you at a conference I'm hosting in Nairobi from the 17th to 22nd of July, where I'm expecting between 7,000 and 9,000 people to come to Kenya. We're having the 5th World Investment Forum. The leaders of the largest companies in the world are coming to Nairobi. And we'll have major villages for matchmaking. So I'd like to encourage you, by the way, we try to, as much as possible, make it possible for people from the communities to participate by visiting our investment village and meeting people who have major enterprises on hand. You might just win some partnership. 2 years ago, that's the last time we had a World Investment Forum, there was a transaction of 15 billion US dollars agreements in the 3 days of matchmaking. I don't think that Kisii wants to be left behind. So Mr. Governor, you've given me an invitation to your event. I'm also giving you an invitation to my event. The people of Kisii na Wakenya kwa jumla, tafadhali, kuna muda wa kufanya siasa. Lakini saa zingine tafikiria kususana, kutukanana ndio siasa. Kuna changamoto kwamba nchi yetu yaanza kurudi nyuma wakati mataifa mengine yanaanza kufua damu. Ukimuona Magufuli kule Tanzania ana mwelekeo, ana nia na anaonyesha kwamba ana uwezo kuendeleza taifa la Tanzania. Nyinyi wa Kenya, jukumu ni lenu. Kwa nini uchumi wa Kenya uwe unadidimia kila mwaka tuelekea hapo kwa kura? Ni kwa sababu tumefanya kosa moja. Mataifa ambayo yanaendelea huwa yanafanya kwamba siasa ichangie kuhamasisha uchumi. Nyinyi mnafanya uchumi uchangie kuhamasisha siasa. You subordinate economic interests to political competition. Yet politics is supposed to be a servant of economic goals. You have a challenge and a responsibility to the next generation of Kenyans. If you're going to have a momentum, if you are going to at all have a chance to achieve the aspirations of Agenda 2030, to remain an eminent player in the regional economy, we have to curtail the cost of political intrigue and keep an eye in a non-partisan way focused, reviving, strengthening, and building a competitive enterprise Kenya. Thank you very much for your attention.
Can you please clap for him? There is one thing that he said that I really must repeat. The subjugation of politics as opposed to economic development, either for the nation or for the county. Tuanchile siasa mono, ende wasoa mangana development, tuare go tigabna ba usito beamo, na tuare ko gelerie county ye ise tare go chago ikade ke kiabata ya bikio mahali. Are ko rifa nationally, igni no muntu siasa na ba ko manyebili. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those good words. I will now ask the MCs to please take over. Thank you very much. And yes.
Thank you, Your Excellency, our Governor, James. We are proud of you, and thank you for being our ambassador out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now go straight and give our DG from Murang'a, the White Rhino. Ordinarily, DG, that would be about $4,500, but we're giving it for you, all right? White Rhino for you there. Thank you. Governor Oparanya, Omwami Chapapa, Ugwelisi Jindu. Usiubola vandu wa Kakamega, vandu wa Kisii walione Frindo fly. You know, that is Greek, by the way, for those of you who don't understand Greek. Asante sana, Papa. May I now request our chairman of the council of let you know that those are Kisiis who remained in central Kenya. Governor, you have your elephant there. And please do smile at the cameras because that will make it to the front page, so you don't want to be there without a smile, all right? Yeah, thank you. Last but not least, allow me, Speaker, Pase Baba, Kamalai, so that is what we call it in Pokusu. Asante sana, Your Excellency, we may now take seats. Ladies and gentlemen, remember we are still live on